There we go. Not easy to be parrot. Anyways. Okay. So we're at the Mishnah. Mem Beis Amar Aleph, yeah? Yeah, that's what we're up to. Yeah. So Stam is before we start. Shmitta. You need shmitta. Everybody's fields become hefker. Everybody's fields, everybody's fruit, vegetables, it all becomes hefker. So somebody can come take it. The shaila is somebody made a neder. So what's the din with that? Right? Is it hefker? I'm saying is the guy that made it assur? Is that going to be assur during shmitta, or it just becomes hefker? So there's variables whether the guy made the neder before shmitta or during shmitta. So that's what the Mishnah is going to discuss. Right? The guy makes a neder from his chaver before shmitta. Right? So he makes the neder that he's not going to get hung up from his fence. He's not allowed to go into his field. That already we learned a few blot ago. That when you make a neder, you're not going to benefit from somebody, so you're not allowed to walk in his field. And you're not allowed to eat from the fruits that the fruits that are even on the branches that are outside of the property. Meaning, he's saying he's not allowed to benefit from him. So the branch is already out of his property. So maybe that's not called benefiting from him. So we say no, it is. But during shmitta, but during shmitta, he's not allowed to go into his field, which we're going to see in the Gemara. Why not? It's not considered his field. It's hefka. Right? During shmitta, you just walk into people's fields and you take a strigus. Right? But he is allowed to take fruit from the branches that go out of his field. So he's still not allowed to go into his field during shmitta, which we have to see why that should be, because it's hefka. But he is allowed to eat from the fruits of the branches that go over the boundary of the field. That's if he makes the neder before shmitta. Neder heimenu Michael lefnei shviyis. If he makes a neder of food, right, before shmitta, then yared l'saysadeo, then he is allowed to go in the field. Why? Because all he made a neder was from food, not from regular hana. Excuse me. So regular hana, you're not allowed to go into the guy's field. But if all you made a neder from was not to eat, so you're allowed to go into his field. But he can't eat his fruit. That's before shmitta, right? But in shmitta, but in shmitta, he's allowed to go down and eat. Why? Because it's no longer his fruit. It became hefker. So that's going to be the Machlokes in the Gemara is, well, the fruit was assur to him al neder before shmitta, and now when it becomes hefker, does that eliminate the neder? Meaning, is that hefker strong enough to eliminate the neder? All right, again, the guy made a neder before shmitta, he's not going to eat from his friend. Now, so then all his fruit's assur. All of a sudden, Rosh Hashanah comes, and the fruit becomes hefker, and the Mishnah is saying he's allowed to eat it, because it's no longer the fellow's, even though it was assur to him. So it's an interesting case, because what comes out is that something was assur became automatically mutter. Right? It became automatically mutter. So let's see the Gemara. So that is the Machlokes. So talk to the Gemara. Rav and Shmuel, the Amrit, Rav and Shmuel both say nechasim. Now the Bach changes it to nichsei. Nichsei alecha, nechasi alecha. Really, my nechasim are onto you, meaning he's making a neder that it's assur for you to use anything of mine. If he did it before shmitta, ein yared l'saysadeo. He's not allowed to go into his field like we learned, because he said all his belongings are assur. But and he's not allowed to eat from the branches either. Even though it's shmitta. But let's say he made the neder during shmitta, then ein yared l'saysadeo. He's not allowed to go into his field. But he is
Yaakov. Excuse me, where are you?
I'm sitting in my car. I couldn't find a quiet place.
You're in the car?
Oh,
are your lights on? Are your lights on?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to find it.
One second.
I'm upstairs by the customer.
Did he invite you to his car? Did he invite you to his car?
My car is tiny. Is there a quiet place to do it? I could come in.
The place is, I'm up. I don't know. I'm walking around up here.
Oh, it's pouring. You know what? It's pouring. So I'll pull in under the thing.
Yeah.
Are you in the car?
I'm in your car. Yes. Why?
The Taka is tiny.
Can't you tell his face is right up into the screen? Of course he's in your small car.
Hold on a second. I can't even see behind me. I'm going to pull it under. I'm sorry for the disturbance. I hope the other one doesn't mind. Anyway.
I apologize. I'm the one who's making the disturbance.
No, it's fine.
And half the guys don't like me to begin with, so.
and then some of the guys are not here.
I don't think this is going to change it.
I don't think so. Duffin, is that you?
Yes, it's not going to make it worse. Don't worry.
What are you such a wise guy for?
Because that's what I am.
It's not going to make it worse? Okay.
No, I don't think it's going to make it worse.
Okay.
There you go. There you are.
Yeah. Okay.
1 second. Let me pull it. Yeah. Hold on.
There's room for me. There's no room for my hat.
This is a first. I don't think we've ever had Aaron live.
What?
I don't think we've ever had Aaron live at this year.
We can put his face on if you want, in case anybody misses you. Shut it. You want to shut it?
I'll see him in the morning. It's okay. I'll see him in the morning.
Oh. If anybody wants to see his face, got him right there. I think, did you hang up, yours?
Yeah.
What are you saying, Abrami?
Is there any more room in the car for anybody?
We got 2 seats in the back.
Where's Naftali? Naftali's not in the front?
Naftali and Avi car, there's room for them.
They don't fit in this car. Well, how do you think I got this?
Can I drive up alongside and just park next to you?
If Naftali was at the wedding, you'd be in the car already, okay?
Yes. You know what? Why do you think I got this car out of Elio Ikovic? He didn't fit. He got this car and he doesn't fit in.
By the way, it's at the Sands. Naftali could still get there in time.
That's true. But you have to pay a toll. Anyway.
Now we'll see how much he likes you. Let's see. Is it worth $2?
Yeah. Yeah. Let him keep his $2. No. Okay. Anyways, so where did we leave off? Oh, so we said. So it seems like from Rav and Shmuel, there's no chiddush here. There's no chiddush here, right? Again, he said that if it's when one. Okay, saying that if he made the neder before shmitta, obviously the guy's not allowed to go into his field, right? And he can't eat from the fruits that are leaning over the boundary. And if the neder was made during shmitta, then he's not allowed to go into his field, but he is allowed to eat from the branches that are over the thing, right? So why can't he go into the field? So we're going to wait and see that to the end of the Gemara. The end of the Gemara is going to discuss that. Okay, that's Sita's Rav and Shmuel. See, the lesson is a little different. Nichse alecha, not nichse. Well, okay, it gets into the gears there too, but let's go with what he says. Nichse alecha, if my belongings are onto you, lifnei tviyas, ein yared osech. He's not allowed to go into his field, and he's not allowed to eat from the branches that are over the boundaries. If once it gets to shmitta, he can't go to the field. Who has a neder, but he could eat the neder, right? So they almost sound like they're saying the exact same thing. right? But it's totally in the lashon of what the guy said. That's what's going on here. Did he say all my belongings or only some? Right? If he says these specific, so then maybe those are assur and nothing else is assur. And even if it becomes hefker later, these will be assur onto you. What the Gemara basically saying, the way the Ran says it, is that's like hektish. Once these fruits became assur, so then they will remain assur forever, like hektish. Once something comes hektish, you can't take the hektish off. I mean, you could be fighted, but the thing itself, the hektish will remain, right? So here too, so Rav and Shmuel are going to say, no, it's one. Even though you had, it's not like hektish. And once the reason for the issur goes off, so it goes off. Meaning, he said, once it's mine, you're not allowed to have it. But once it becomes hefker, so it's no longer mine, so it's not assur. So let's see. So lema b'akom ifti. Let's say this is the Machlokes. What's the talian? The Rav and Shmuel savri adam oisa davar shever shusay. A person could say that something's assur, that's in his rishus, even when it goes out of his rishus. And Rabbi Yochanan say that a person cannot say something's assur in their rishus when it goes out of the rishus, meaning a guy only has right to assur something when it's under his power. Once it leaves his power, his rights are over. Right? So that's what one thing the Gemara wants to say. Then, but if that's true, is there such a thing that anybody holds that something could be assur when it's his rishus and then it remains assur even when it goes out of his rishus? So then, if that's the case, so why do you have to say nechasim elu? I mean, why do you have to say nechsai, just my belongings? Say even these specific things are going to remain assur, and then a kol tekain if he says all my belongings. Meaning, we're trying to say that if you say the word elu, so it's dafka these, and these are going to remain assur forever, right? Even afterwards, even after it becomes, yeah.
Didn't we say in other Gemaras in Nedarim that if you were to sell something and once it goes to a third party, the issur is not chal anymore mitzad the person that you assured it to. He could go ahead and then buy it from that person.
Again, what are you saying that once it goes to a third? Yeah, but here it's not a third party. Here it's hefker.
Yeah, hefker. What's the difference between hefker and a third party?
Well, that's
out of your rishus. What's the difference? Why does it have to go to the third? It went out of your rishus. It went into another rishus. Dainu hefker.
That's really going to be tomorrow's daf if hefker is considered. What exactly is hefker considered?
I'm just saying, once it leaves your rishus, forget about the Isudavar. You see that taka, you can't assur forever. This idea that you could assur something forever is not true, because if it goes to a third party, it's not assur if it goes to that person afterwards.
You mean you're saying that if it goes to a third party, it's no longer his?
Right. So clearly you can't assur it once it leaves your rishus in that case, right? Everyone's masking over there.
Correct. Yeah, so, that we had, right? With the Nedarim that once you give it to somebody else.
Once it leaves your rishus, because over there it left your rishus and you can't assur it beside him buying it from them.
Right. So, but I think what it means is Yasame Rishusai, but it didn't go to anybody else.
That's a funny way of saying it, but it's Yasame Rishusai when it goes to third party as well.
Right. Well, we had even more. We even had even more. So we had that it can even go to the person who made the neder as long as it doesn't come directly from the guy.
Right. If you leave it on the rack.
Right. Yeah.
What's the difference between this and leaving it on the rack? They're both hefker.
Leaving it on the rock?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's mamish tomorrow's daf or the next day's daf. We're going to see that Rabbi Yossi Taka holds like you. It doesn't work.
You're saying it's only one shmitta, but I thought everyone's masking when it goes to a different person. Like, what's the difference between hefker and another?
We have to hold off till tomorrow's daf to see what which just means I'm not holding it tomorrow's daf. So that's why I'm saying that.
Well, I'm not either, so I'm there with you.
Okay, there you go. But tomorrow it's a Machlokes. I don't remember how we come out already, but Yeah. He holds putting it on top of the rock is no good. All right. We'll see. Okay. So then Vasu, that's one kasa. We do have a case where somebody can answer something that when it goes out of his rishus. A guy says he makes the neder on his son that he's not going to get hano from the father, right? Must have been a wonderful father-son relationship, right? So he makes the neder he's not going to get hano, mace, and then he dies. He can yashin him. I'm sorry. Yershana, he could yashin him. Why? Because once the guy dies, it's no longer in the father's rishus. Right? The father wasn't smart enough. He should have said, "It's no good." Right? That's not the cousin going to dance, is it? No, it's got to be going to pictures. That would be pretty good. All right. Anyway, sorry. So, your mace, you're a son. He yashin. So once he yashin, so that the game is over. The father's no longer the father's, and the kid can benefit from it. But if the father's smart, and he says that if the son can't be nene from him, not when he's alive and not when he's dead, so then on Talmud Beis now, it may, you want to look inside? It may, lo yirusenu. If he dies, then he doesn't yashin him because he made the neder not when he's alive and not when he's dead. Yeah. So he want to answer, I don't understand the Havamina. Right? He said, well, of course it's not a raya. The guy made the neder that it's after he died. It's when he's alive and when he's dead. Maybe he can't do that because it's not his rishus. That's what Rabban is saying. You hear that? Meaning, maybe Taka, you can't do that. Does somebody have the koyach to make a neder on something after he dies? I don't. Well, from this Gemara, the Teretz is saying yes.
Right? Only because there's bechaya. Without the bechaya, they wouldn't work.
I mean, if he just says after death, it wouldn't work.
Right. You can't assur someone else's nechasim on a third party.
I hear.
It might depend on whether Yerush is lekeach or Yerush.
Okay, well that's okay. That's getting into a whole different. Right. That's another shaila. So the Yerusa, are they kained? Was he kained yet?
So if Yerush is lekeach dummy, then no.
Right.
He first has to be kained.
That was another Gemara we had already. Whether the Yerush gets it right away or he has to be kained right away. No.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways, okay.
Talking about other Gemaras, didn't we have a Gemara about in Eruvin whether if the trunk of a tree is in Rosh Hashanah and the knife is in Rosh Hashanah, whether we go Ikr Basar Naifai or Naifai Basar Ikrai?
Right, and then Marcus too.
Yeah, and the Baba Basra.
Why is talking about the fruit? We're talking about just the fruit.
But the fruit of the noitis is going into Rosh Hashanah. Why aren't they anyway not the guys?
The fruit is hefker. Right?
Well, even before Shvius, I'm saying. Even before Shvius. Without shmitta. The fruit of the noitis, if we go Ikrei Basar Naifai, then he can eat them. They don't belong to the guy.
But and if you don't go Basar Naifai, then it for sure doesn't belong. It's not even in his rishus.
No, if we go Naifai Basar Ikrei, then it's the guy who made the neder. He can assur it. Even if it's hanging out of his rishus.
Yeah, but okay, I thought that the fruit would have a different din than the branch.
Why? The branch itself is in Rosh Hashanah. It belongs to everyone.
That's what I thought. What? I don't know. Anyways, okay, weiter. Either way, Makom Malkum Kasha, the Gemara says, well, the first Kasha, good. You answered the second Kasha. What about the first Kasha? Ella, so the Gemara changes, right? Every time the Gemara says Ella, it's a new terror. Ella ben nechasim elu kulayam alay pligi. If he says nechasim elu, everybody holds these nechasim, meaning if the terminology of the nether was these nechasim are also kulayam alay pligi, nobody argues. Ki pligi ben nichse, where he says nichsi, I'm sorry, my nechasim. Rav Shmuel Tavi loishna nechasim elu loishna nichse adam oyster. Doesn't make a difference what his terminology was. When he says these nechasim, they say assur. But if Yochanan v'Rishlokes are nechasim adam assur, nechasai ain't adam assur. When he says nechasim, then it's gonna be assur. When he just says my nechasim, so when they're mine, they're assur. But after they're done being mine, which is after they're hefker, then it's not gonna be assur. Right? So meaning again, nechasim means he's saying my belongs. So my belongings say my belongings. But if he says these nechasim, then it's specific to these things. And once they become hefker or he dies, either one, then that's it. So they're no longer his. So then what I ask, is there even a shmitta that Rav Shmuel that don't differentiate between using the term nechasim and nechasai? If a guy says to his friend that I'm making a neder, that I'm not coming to your house, or that I'm not going to come into your field, and then, or that I'm not going to take anything from you, mutter. If he died or he was sold it to somebody else, it's mutter. Right? So that's what he said, lebeis cha. Right? He said, lebeis beis cha. And sad cha. He said, your field, your house. But if he says, lebayezeh, shani nichnas sadezu, shani lekeach, then if he says lebayez, I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Lebayezeh, shani nichnas sadezu, and then shani lekeach, right? Meaning he says, I'm not going into your house and I'm not going into your field. Then it's assur, right? Because here he's saying, again, if he says to a specific thing, then it's going to be assur. And if he just says it's stam, it's only going to be assur until the guy dies or until he sells it. So you see that there is a difference between saying beis cha and just bias, right?
That Mishnah is talking about a different case. He's offering it on himself. There's only one person involved in that neder. There's no Reuven and Shimon.
Yeah, what's the difference? Well, it's got to be somebody.
He's answering a chayfetz. I can answer any chayfetz on myself. It doesn't matter who it belongs to.
No, but he's answering the field.
Yeah. So who cares who it belongs to? This field is answer for me. If it belongs to Reuven, Shimon, or George.
No, but that's the question. Does he mean this field dafko or the field that belongs to whoever's the balabas?
Why would the balabas be included if he says this field?
It's almost like Gavra Chefza. Is he answering the field itself or the guy who owns the field?
It's always a Chefza. It's a neder, not a shvur.
I understand, but I'm saying it's similar to that. Similar.
But if he doesn't mention the guy and the Isra is on himself, if he was answering his own thing on someone else, then I can hear it makes a difference if he says, Nechsai, all my nechasim, or nechasim elu, these particular ones. Fine, there's a difference in terminology. Or there isn't, because they're the same nechasim. But if he's answering something on himself, what difference is there?
I'm not even going down that road trying to understand this. No, I don't know. As long as I understand the taich, I'm very happy.
The guy says the Yankee Stadium.
Right.
This is the third Yankee Stadium. This is not the same as the one.
You mean to say Yankee? You got a baseball suit, though. You hear?
And it's the third Yankee. This one is not even in the same spot as the other two, but it's Yankee Stadium.
Right.
The Gonzavelt is the Yankee Stadium.
Is it the original Yankee Stadium, or there was 3 or 2? It was redone.
Right, it was redone. This one is Mamakin new one.
Right. So does it mean Dafka that one, or any stadium that the Yankees play in? I guess at home.
Oh, so it's perfect. If a guy said 50 years ago, I'm never going to go into this stadium, does he mean
said
Yankee Stadium?
He didn't say this
stadium. He said Yankee Stadium. So now they built a new
Yankee that's Stadium. The difference between Nechasai or Nechasim Elu. If he specifies which one, that's this stadium. I'm not going to go into this stadium. Does he mean Yankee Stadium or this particular stadium?
That, Garrison. He said
that's exactly
Yankee
what he
Stadium.
said.
Well, he said bias. In this Gemara, in this case, he said bias.
He said your house or this house.
Right.
Am I saying Reuven's house or this house? That's the difference in what he's saying.
Yeah, so Beischa, the Mishnah is saying Beischa, once the guy dies or he sells it, it's no longer his bias.
Fine. That's fine.
So he could go in there. When he
what
says
bias
there, it's assur because he assured this house regardless of who owned it.
Of course, because he's assuring it on himself. It doesn't matter.
Right.
The owner is irrelevant. The owner is completely irrelevant. This house is assur to me.
Isn't that right? Isn't that what the Gemara is saying?
When I'm assuring all my nechasim on someone else, that's what we're handling. I'm assuring all my nechasim on someone else. The question is whether I say nechasai, my nechasim, or nechasim elu, these nechasim. That's the chilik. But it's on someone else.
Right.
Now we want to say there's a difference if when the guy's alive or dead. But how do I bring a raya from someone assuring it on himself?
I hear. You say, well, because I guess the raya is based on his terminology. What does he think that it is?
That makes a big difference whether it's going back on him or someone else. I can't assur someone else's nechasim on a third party. That everyone's mask. I can't. Reuven can't say Shimon's nechasim is assur to lay.
Correct.
Right. The only question is if he can say that my nechasim are assur to Shimon even when they are out of my rishus. That's what we're having.
Right.
But if I was saying the other way around, Shimon's nechasim are assur to me even when they're out of his rishus, that would work. Because I can assur them in any rishus.
I hear. Okay, I'm not sure. But if we don't stop now, you ever listen to here because Peretz and Eretz Yisrael tomorrow is going to be cursing wherever he is. He's going to be cursing, so we gotta go fight. Yeah. Anyway, so whatever the kasha is that you see clearly, even according to Gershon, you see that there's a difference in the terminology. If the guy says beischa, right, beischa or bias, right? Beischa means your house, and once it's no longer his house, it's mutter. When he says bias there, it's going to remain assur. So Eloki Amri Rabbi Yochanan Rish Lakish ben Nifsai. So we say it's not even a Machlokes. Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish we're saying Nifsai, and Rav Shmuel ben Chasim Elu. Rav Shmuel ben Chasim Elu v'loy pligi. There's no Machlokes. Meaning they were both talking about. Each one was talking about a different case. Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish was talking about where he says Nifsai, and Rav Shmuel we're talking about Nechasim. So that's why they said a different thing. But ultimately, there's no Machlokes. And everybody agrees that nichsi means specific to that, and nechasim elu means it's going to be assur forever. Yeah, fine. So I think what it says b'shvius, but during shmitta he's not allowed to go into the field, right? But he's allowed to eat from the fruit that's hanging over the property that he's allowed to eat, but from the field. But he's not allowed to go into the field. Why? Is the peridef gera inun. So aranami afkara. Why are you saying that he's allowed to eat from the fruit? Because it became hefker. So the land is also hefker. Everybody, you're not allowed to build a fence. The din is that you're allowed to build a fence. You're not allowed to keep a fence locked. You're not allowed to keep a fence locked. In shmita, you have to keep it open to everybody because it's hefker. So why can't the guy go into the field? Right? We're talking about where there are trees on the boundary, so you don't have to go into the guy's field if you don't need to. Meaning, the way the Gemara is saying it is that it's not so potted. You're only allowed to go into a guy's field during shmita. Meaning, can you go into a guy's field in shmita and play baseball there? You say it's hefker. So why can I? You're killing the guys. You kill the guy's whole farm. You're allowed to go into the field in order to get yourself fruit. You can't set up shop in there, right? So we're saying, so if the trees are on the edge and you can get the fruit by not going in. So don't go in. That's Ula's shot. We had this a few blot ago. He makes a gezerah that if you're going to go into the field, then perhaps you're going to stay in there and hang out for longer. In which case, he will be getting benefit from the field, and that's not allowed because he made a neder. that he's not going to get benefit. Meaning, even though the field is hefker, but he's not allowed to hang out in there to get direct hana from the field. He's allowed to go in there to get fruit. If you're going to let him go in there and get fruit, he might stop and get a fruit. Or and then he might, envision a baseball stadium and start hanging around there. I don't know, whatever he's going to do in the field, he may end up staying for a long time, and then he's going to get hana from it, which is assur. So those are the two pshatim why. So meaning, really, he could go into the field. That's what comes down to Gemara. Really, he can go into the field. The first teretz is that there's no need to because the trees are on the edge of the field. And the second teretz is that there's a gezerah that he can't go into the field because he may end up overstaying his welcome, in which case he's going to be assur.
So straight from this mission, this would be the case where Poisik would give the guy a head for certain reasons.
To stay there.
Yeah.
If there's no gezerah, if there's no gezerah. I mean, if there's no chesas for the gezerah. Yeah. All right. We'll stop over here. All right, Gershon, now you can go back on your fight. All right, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah. It's wonderful. No, give me, because I couldn't remember the number. I got like 15 times the wrong number. I went over to Henry. He said, Teretz's number. So now Okay. All right, I have to do my homework with my daughter now. So my homework. Notice I said my homework. All right, Skaya. So what are you saying, Gershon? What are you saying? Are you keeping up on it?
I'm just wondering if there's a chiluk between mamonus and assur. In other words, in mamonus you can have a